everybody, it's Bri Mott from Fashion at the Races. I'm standing here at the Woodford Reserve Bourbon Distillery. I'm so excited to get a private tour from Master Taster Elizabeth O'Neill. This is my second tour. The first one was awesome, but there's so much information, it's hard for it to sink in one round.
Yes, there is a lot to see, smell, and taste at the Woodford Reserve Distillery.
Well, perfect. I'm excited to learn, so let's get going.
Let's go.
It is super loud in here. Where are we?
Yes, so now we are actually in our historic distillery. So this was actually built in the 1840s, and then this half of it was added on in the 1940s when Brown-Forman bought it.
So these stone walls that's surrounding us, this is all the way from back in the 1940s, you
Yes,
said?
this portion is, and that's from the 1800s.
Vintage, just like my dress.
Yes.
So what's the best part of Woodford Reserve? What's in the flavor? You said you're really strong in flavor.
Yes, so the biggest piece of Woodford Reserve is our complex flavor. We love to talk about our 5 sources of flavor when people come out here to the distillery to see all the unique pieces of it.
Okay, and what are the 5 sources?
So we have our limestone filtered water, our grain recipe, which is 72% corn, 18% rye, and 10% malted barley.
I need a calculator.
I know, it is a lot to keep track of. And then we have our fermentation process and yeast, that's proprietary, our distillation, which is beautiful and amazing, and then our maturation.
Now, you said the first one was the limestone water. Does that have anything to do with the creek outside?
Yes, so when you're outside of our distillery, you can actually see the pepper spring, which is the original spring that was used bubbling up into the creek.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
So we are up on the fermentation floor. So we have 6 fermenters that are cooking away.
So what does fermenting actually mean?
So fermentation is the yeast converting all those sugars into alcohol. So when you look into these vats, you can see it bubbling a little bit. This one was just set, so it's still starting to get going, but you see all these bubbles, and what's coming off of there, it looks like it's boiling, but It's actually CO2 and heat, and then alcohol is being made. So that's what's happening.
So it's like beer.
Yes.
This is what beer is.
Yeah, so we are starting out, and it's very sweet, and by the end of this, about 3 to 5 days, it'll be about 10% ABV, maybe up to 12 if we're having a really good ferment going, but yeah, it'll be like beer.
Now ABV, alcohol.
ABV, yeah.
ABV.
Alcohol by volume.
So now, if you were to taste one of these, would it be like, what would it taste like?
So actually, if you want to, you can taste.
I would love
So
to.
Go ahead and stick your finger in here, swirl it around, it's grains and water. So it's really sweet. It's very, very sweet.
I wouldn't think it would be sweet.
Well, some of them, so this is a fresh one that still has a lot of the sugar. The sugar hasn't been consumed yet. When you taste it later on in the process, it'll be more bitter like a beer. But that's where you start getting all the fruit and the pear, you get apple, you get almost a juicy fruit type of note when you, and that all that flavor is created in fermentation process.
So you come up here and like throw spices in this?
No, no,
Like
it's all natural. It's all natural.
Cool.
It's all just the yeast and how the yeast works and eats all the sugars.
So from 1 to, you said how many? There's 6.
6, yes.
It takes only 3 to 5 days.
Yes.
Cool.
So and these are dropping, when we say dropping, it's going into our beer well every 18 hours. So these are being dropped and refilled every 18 hours.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
My goodness, it is like really hot in here.
Yes. So the heat is from the steam that's heating all of our stills, our copper pot stills. And that is what's making all this wonderful spirit that you see flowing out.
This is the alcohol?
Yes.
Pure alcohol?
Yes. That is what is going to be put into our barrels.
It looks like water.
Yes, it does. And I didn't know it was clear when I first learned about bourbon either. So yeah, it's kind of a refining process. All 3 stills, that's all about capturing the best flavor to put into our barrels.
Okay, so it starts here and then it runs in there.
Yes, so well, it starts in the fermenters.
Right, where we were.
Comes into this beer still. That's just separating alcohol from all the other ingredients in that fermentation. And then it goes down and it gets redistilled a second time and then gets redistilled a 3rd time.
Okay.
And that is all about refining the flavor.
And is that where it gets into the dark bourbon color, is in here?
No.
We're not there yet.
That's what happens in the barrel.
All right, so I can smell this just from this little window.
Yes, but let's open it up. And just be careful, but take a nice whiff.
I'm scared.
A nice whiff.
Holy moly.
It's pretty
Bring
hot.
back my college years.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, cool.
It won't be over 160 proof because it is a bourbon, but it's still very high proof.
So now how high can it go?
That's the highest. When it's a bourbon,
160.
160.
Very good to know.
Yes. So we're over here. This is where we're filling our specially made Woodford Reserve barrels.
Okay.
They are about 53 gallons.
Wow.
And all new make spirit goes in there and then heads to the warehouse.
Cool. So it takes like 3 minutes, or how long to fill each barrel?
About 3 to 5 minutes to get it filled.
And that's what he's doing right here.
That's what Mike's doing right there.
That's so cool. Oh, wow. And now they're going to roll?
Yep.
They're going to roll.
Head on down to the warehouse. So now we are in our warehouse, and I love coming into our warehouse. It smells so good in here.
It does. The wood, the barrels, this is an amazing sight to see.
Yes. So our warehouses are heat cycled, which is really a unique thing to Woodford Reserve. So that means in the wintertime, when the bourbon usually is sitting dormant in those barrels, we're cranking up the heat in here.
Okay.
And so it's going in and out of that barrel wood, the staves, so it's constantly, the more it goes into the wood when it's really hot, and then when it cools down, it pulls back out of the wood, it's extracting flavor from that wood.
So that's all about the flavors,
yes.
the heat cycles. Okay.
Yes. So these barrels are what give Woodford the color, and 80% of the flavor you find in that glass is coming from these barrels. All those delicious sweet aromatics, spice notes, and some of the fruity character as well.
Now, how long does it take to get that flavor out of these?
So it'll stay in there for about 5 to 7 years.
Okay. I see on some of the barrels it says fill date. There's 8/10/2011, so that's got
a few more
years.
Yeah.
And it's just going to stay right there. That's so crazy.
Yeah, that once they get in their spot, they stay there. This is their home.
Now, weird question maybe, do you reuse them, or is it one-time use?
Bourbon barrels, one-time use. We might sell them to other whiskeys that use used barrels.
Yeah.
We always use new charred oak barrels.
That's awesome. And I love this.
And we make all of them. So Brown-Forman has its own cooperage, so we get to make all these barrels specially for Woodford Reserve.
So you really are in it from start to finish
Yes.
with Woodford.
Yeah.
Wow, I love this. So this might be the coolest room that we've gone to visit. I'm not sure. Every room's amazing.
Yes. So this room is all brand new, and this is where we had to up the ante with it, so that because Woodford, every bottle of Woodford is bottled here on this bottling line at the distillery.
Wow.
It's all inspected for quality numerous times throughout the process.
Perfect. So literally, you make the barrels, you make the bourbon, you make the bottles, you box it from start to finish. Woodford Reserve is all of you.
Yes.
Well, I'm just gonna go grab one of these boxes and then we're done. Elizabeth, thank you so much. It was such a wonderful tour. I've got my Woodford. I'm ready to take it home.
Yes. Now, don't tell anybody that you just lifted it.
Nobody saw.
Okay.
Except for you.
Yeah.
Our secret. There's so much more information. We couldn't fit it all in this one video, so make sure that you come down to Versailles, Kentucky, take your own bourbon tour here at the Woodford Reserve.
Yes. Come see me.